Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome back to Friday Reads Live. I'm Dee, and this is where I'm reading. And this is where we talk about what we're reading today, Friday, this weekend, and sometimes into the following week. So I see there's four people watching. Please feel free to come join the conversation to let us know what you're reading. We enjoy hearing what everybody's reading, what they're liking, what they're not liking, what they read, all the rest of it. Because that's what kind of place it is. We talk about reading and book stuff, and we talk about other stuff too. Hello, Tracy. How are you? Happy Friday. I'm so glad it's Friday, girl. You don't even know. I can tell you. Whew, this week has just been a nail biting nerve. Let's just put it that way. A nail biting nerve. I mean, yeah, I've been going through it, but that's another story. I'm fine. I made it to Friday. Let's see if I can get through the weekend as well. Yeah. All right. Oh, Raymond's house. That's wait. I'll be right back. I got a book I want to check out for Raymond. Okay, I got another book, Raymond, that I might be able to use. When I was looking through my books, I found this one. It's a graphic novel called Nina Simone, and it's a graphic novel like this. And then in the back, it has all kinds of stuff on her as well. I think I can use this one for your challenge too. All right, let's see who's in. Welcome, Birdie. Yes, girl. The week has been long, hella long. That's all I'm gonna say. Hello, Alicia. How are you? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Raymond. Raymond says graphic novel. Nice. Hello, Rosa. How are you? Happy Friday. So, what am I reading? I'm still reading We Refuse, Full History of Black Resistance by Kelly Carter Jackson. I'm reading this with Patrice, and this is real good. I recommend it. Already. Good. I'm still reading Palace Walk by Naguib Mahfouz, Egyptian writer, Nobel Prize Literature winner. Reading that. Now I'm adding this one that I with Anna, La Duchesse de Lange, Fille aux yeux d'or. So that's book 2 and 3 of this series. So we already read this one right here, Ferragus. It was okay. So we're gonna be reading the second and the third novel, which is in this one book in French. And then I've got to read this one right here, which is called Artificial Wisdom. That's the front, and that's the back. And this one is about an AI political candidate. It says it's the year 2050 in the teeth of a climate catastrophe. The world is left with a drastic solution, one global leader to steer through the coming apocalypse. The final two candidates are ex-US President Lockwood and Solomon, the world's first political artificial intelligence. As whispers of a global conspiracy emerge, investigative journalist Marcus Tully find himself at the center of it. When Solomon's theater turns up murdered, overnight, one investigation becomes two, and it's not just the result of the election that's at stake, but the future of the species. Suddenly, humanity must make an impossible choice: salvation or freedom. So I'm reading this one with my book club here in Normandy. So I have to read by next Saturday. So that's where we are, y'all. That's where I am. So I'm literally reading all of this at the same time. But it be what it be. Okay, let's see who else is in here. Oh wait, I missed some people. Let me go back. Okay, Tracy said she read with Love from Harlem, a Hazel Scott novel by Rashonda Tate and Hazel Scott biography by Karen Clinton for Raymond's Challenge. Very nice. Hello, Kirk. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. What are you reading? Hello, Sharon. Sharon says, hello, all. I'm reading We Don't Talk About Carol. Enjoying it. Yeah, that seems to be going around. I saw Kay had put that on her stories today. Bertie said, I got back to the dentist. Girl, the dentist. I called you. Oh, yeah, you called the right time. Exactly. Um, let's see. Tracy said, my husband said to say hi to my book twin. Oh, so it's so nice. He's off today, so we're going to. Ooh, very nice. Say hello to your hubby. Let's see. Raymond said, I'm still reading Monumental, Oscar Dunn, his radical fight in Reconstruction. Louisiana B. Brian Mitchell, Barrington Edwards, and Nick Weldon. Graphic novel. Okay. All right now. Hello, Sunshine Glory. How are you? Happy Friday. She says, finally caught a live stream. I'm currently reading Look Closer by David Ellis. Okay. And Americana by Chimamanda. Very nice. I like that book a lot. Bertie, how was With Love from Harlem? I've been eyeing it. Okay, so that one is for Tracy. No, for sorry, who's that? Who's reading that? Who is reading that? I think it's Rain. I think. Hello, DL is in the house. How are you? Happy Friday. Okay, DL says we don't talk about Carol. It's so good. Okay. All right. Well, I can't buy no books. So if I can't get it on every end, it ain't happening. It ain't gonna happen because I can't buy no books. You know that. I cannot buy any more books, my dear. Let's see, what's it called? Don't talk about Carol. Let's see. Don't talk about Carol. Hmm. Mm, can't get it. Cannot get it. I don't see it. Nope. Oh well. That's gonna have to be next year, unless somebody gifts it to me. Curtis, I just finished reading Our. Oh, you finished? How was it? Fantastic book. Yay! He's still reading Jubilee. Yeah, that's a long one too, though, kind of. Margaret Walker and Prophets of Freedom. David W. Blight. Started reading Real by Kennedy Ryan. So many people talk about Real by Kennedy Ryan. I mean, and always say good things about it. Like people really love that novel. I think I can get that one on Everend. I might have to try to pick that one up at some point this year. Maybe on audio if I can get on Everend audio. Hello, Mila. How are you? Mila said started reading King for Raymond's Challenge. Very nice. Everybody's getting into Raymond's Challenge. Yeah. It will take me a while because I'm in school, but it's good so far. Yeah, well, that's good. So Raymond said, "Yay, Mila." Sharon said, "The DL, I'm almost done, and it's getting real." I think you're talking about Don't Talk About Carol. Tracy said, "We don't talk about Carol and Harlem with Love are both good." Okay, that's we need to hear. Hello, Terry Adele. She said, "Just finished The Secret Keeper of Main Street." Yeah, I read that a couple of years ago when it came. I didn't really like it like that. Starting Jeff Pearlman's bio of Tupac. Only God can judge me. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of The Secret Keeper of Main Street. It just felt, I mean, to be honest, I was bored. I'm be honest. I was a little bored and I was expecting a lot more out of it. It almost felt too predictable. There was something I didn't love it. I really didn't love it. 2 minutes on Bugs Patrice in the house. And she's reading We Don't Talk About Errol. It is good. So you see, everybody's liking that book, and I can't get it. Oh well. Rosa said, finishing up Blindness by Jose Saramago. Very intense dystopian novel, 20 pages left. Also, I just started Jane Crow, The Life of Maury, by Rosalind Rosenberg. Okay, so the dystopian novel intense. Was it good though? Did you enjoy it? Sunshine Glory says, We Don't Talk About Carol was such a good book, really strong review, loved it. Okay, y'all trying to get me to buy a book. Is that what's going on here? That's what it sounds like. Um, Terry said, Love, Don't Talk About Carol. Y'all trying to get me to buy that book. Readers Gotta Read said, Hello, hello, happy Friday. Bertie said, Real is a favorite. The audiobook is fantastic. I recommend. Okay, on audio. I think I can get it on Everand on audio. Real. Tracy said to Terry, you should check out Tupac Shakur, the authorized biography by Stacey Robinson, which was published in 2023. DL, I loved King. It was well done. Yes. Rosa said, reading the Polly Murray from Raymond's Challenge. Come on now. The people in here really getting on the ball with Raymond's Challenge. Um, Raymond said to Rosa, glad to hear it. Jane Crow is so good. Polly Murray is one of my heroes. DL said reading a Robert Dugoni, I don't know this name, thriller, Her Cold Justice. A new to me male author, Ronaldo Christopher, called Gorgeous. And Girl on Girl, a non-fic for the Stacks podcast book club. Yeah, okay. Readers Gotta Read said last good novel for me was Guide Me Home by Attica Locke. So that's her third in her trilogy, Highway, whatever it is, 49, I can't, 46. I don't remember what the number is. Also enjoyed Don't Talk About Carol last year on audio. Curtis said to Bertie, I'm actually immersive reading the book with the audiobook, and the narration is fantastic thus far. It is a book club pick for my book club. Oh, very nice. Rosa said to Raymond, I'm enjoying it. So glad you started this, and I usually don't do challenges. Yeah, Rosa was really down for this challenge. I'm down for it too. I think it's great. Terry said Secret Keeper wasn't predictable because I was expecting more bad traumatic things to happen. Think in these times I need a little hope. I guess, but that was, I don't know. It felt, yeah, I expected more bad things to happen, but it was just kind of, it was boring. I mean, her her other novel, what I think it's called, what is it called? This Too Shall Pass or something like that. I can't remember what the title of the other one was. Um, that other one, oh my God, it was so good. That one was good. That's the one where the slave who is mixed race, she is very, very fair skinned. So she's white, and her master's children go off to the town to do some shopping. And at one point they separate, and then there's like a bank heist that happens at the same time, and this girl skedaddles off with one of the young men and goes to a plantation that's two plantations down the way from the one that she is supposed to be on. That book was great. If you haven't read that one, it's great. That's her first. I think that's her first historical fiction. The other one I'm talking about right now. I don't know. It was something like I can't remember the exact title of that one. I got to think about it. But that book was really good. So I was expecting The Secret Keeper of Main Street to be even better, and it was just bad. That wasn't. Let's see. Tracy says there's a new book coming out entitled Young King by LaRon Martin, which would be good for Raina's challenge. Okay. Bertie said the narrator for real. Wait, what happened? Okay. The male narrator for real is top tier. In the first chapter, they talked about where I went to high school. Oh my God. And they talk about Audra McDonald, a friend of mine's wife. Wow, that's really cool. Tracy says, "What passes as it? What passes as love?" Trisha Thomas. Now that's the book you need to get. Pass on the Secret Keepers of Main Street. No, that ain't it. What passes as love? Now that one. That one right there. That was good. Real good. It's too bad she didn't stay in that vein because she could have written The Secret Keepers of Main Street in the same vein, but she was not very she didn't take any risk. And so much so that the book is kind of boring. Like I didn't recommend I didn't recommend it. I read it, but I didn't talk about it because it's not that good. But I did talk a lot about what passed because I really thought that was a good storyline. Um, for a slave narrative, I think it was a really good story from Trisha Thomas. So yeah. So everybody seems to be reading really good books. People seem to be into the biographies. Somebody asked me under my video that I did, Raymond, how come only biographies? And I said, well, the reason you're asking me that is probably the reason why it's only biographies. And then I think I said something like, well, a lot of people read mostly memoirs and autobiographies, and that they're not always telling the full story. And then I told her something else. I said something like, I told her, yeah, it's not always the full story. And, yeah, and I said a lot of people don't read, a lot of biographies. And I said, it's good. We should be reading biographies. And she thumbs up, so she understood. So I think some people were interested. They mentioned, yeah, they had some books they thought could be that could fit. And then I asked people to give Rex. So if you go to that video, you can see recommendations that people have given. And there were some really good recommendations. If you're looking for recommendations to fit Raymond's 12 Lives Challenge, reading 12 biographies, go to my video and you'll see in the comment section tons of excellent recs. Tons of let's see. Sunshine Glory said, has anyone read Under the Udala Trees by Chinola Okparanta? I haven't read that, but it's on my TBR to read. I've been wanting to read it since reading Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about it. Let's see. Rosa said Blindness by Saramago is really good. A little too violent for me. I didn't have my mind right. Oh yeah, you had to get your mind right. Yep. But very well written. Probably gonna be a 4 or 3.75, only because I don't care for dystopian novels. Okay. But you liked Parable of the Sower, and that's a dystopian novel. Well, it's more post-apocalyptic. Yeah. Terry said I didn't realize that Trishard Thomas was yeah. That's why I said uh the one that she wrote, What Passes as Love, was her first historical fiction novel. But yeah, that's for the Napoli, and I haven't read the Napoli Ever After series, but I know that's the thing that she wrote that made her famous. Rosa said, but I will definitely read his Saramago's work again. He's a deep thinker, and I like that. Okay, well, that's good. Tracy said, I'll go put my recommendation. Oh yeah, go ahead if you want. You can put, because I asked people. I said, if you have recommendations, go ahead and put them below. That way, when other people watch the video, they can look in the comment section and they can get some ideas. So feel free to go and put, biography recommendations. As I was very clear in the video, I said no memoirs, no autobiographies. You want biographies. To put the Rex in there. So yeah, people did it. Bertie said just picked up the audio for What Passes for Love. Oh, the audiobook was only $4. Okay, that's a good price. That's a real good price. Snatch it. It's a deal. You'll love it. It's also, that one is also a quick read. I think I read it in 2 sittings because it's not anything difficult to follow or anything. It reads really really well. You could probably, people that read fast could probably read it in 1 sitting. I'm just saying. Tracy said Trishard Thomas has a history of being a wedding dress designer. Oh, I did not know that. So the Main Street book touches, yeah, because the main character, the deal is that the main character, if she touches your hand, she can kind of see like your marital future. Now the problem with it is that I wanted more of that, and there wasn't enough of it in there, and it kind of annoyed me because I was like, why isn't she using that gift that this young woman in the book has more? But she used it a little bit, but I wanted her to use it a lot more. And it made it even more interesting because the young woman has the gift is black, and she works in this seamstress place for this white woman, and all of the women that are coming into the shop are white. So she tries not to touch their hand by wearing gloves and stuff like that. But there's a couple of times where she doesn't have gloves on and they brush up against her hand, and she can can see like their future or whatever. I thought it was fantastic. I wanted more of that, but yeah, she wasn't doing it. So oh well. But I did not know that she was a wedding dress designer. Go figure, girl. I did not know. Like I said, I've been getting back into literary fiction. So what are you reading that's like literary fiction? Um, because I really like literary fiction too. Um, but that's interesting. There are a lot of lawyers who become writers, and there are a lot of like artistic people that that are in like fashion or painting or whatever, and they wind up being writers as well. So it's kind of interesting. But I'm amazed at the quantity of authors that used to be lawyers. That right there is really something to really be surprised at, because there's a lot of really good ones that they were lawyers before and now they're writers. Bernie said right now reading just Add Happiness by Julie Hatcher. It's about a woman who is recovering from divorce. I'm selfishly reading it because I found out afterwards that she named oh, after you. Very nice. Um, Birdie says, and I am going to dive into Leonard Pitts Jr. in February. Hey, you're not going to be sorry. So you're going to be reading The Last Thing You Surrender. Because if you haven't read that, that's what you got to start with The Last Thing You Surrender and follow for 54 miles. Or start with Freeman. That one is really good too, because that's a standalone though. But yeah, follow up with that with The Last Thing You Surrender and follow up with 54 miles. That's like the best reading experience right there. Um, okay, Birdie said yes, The Last Thing You Surrender, and I also have 54 miles on. Oh, okay, well then you set, girl. You got it. That's it. That's it right there. That is the combo you need for February. So it sounds like everybody settled into their good reading. I mean I have not finished. I've only finished two books already mid month, and I'm working on four at the same time. We're gonna make it work. Rosa said Octavia Butler is the exception to everything. She is such a talented writer. I like her no matter the genre, sci-fi, dystopian. She's just too good. Yeah, she is good. She is excellent. As a matter of fact, I was in my local graphic novel shop and I was talking to the lady who owns the shop. And because I've known her for years, the shop is, when I moved to this town, that shop was there and it's still there. So I was talking to her and we were talking about sci-fi and how we don't really particularly like reading sci-fi because it always is these big long books with these long world building explanations that we just have any time for when we're reading. And then I asked her, have you read anything from Octavia E. Butler? And she said, no, I don't know who she is. I was like, what? So then I started telling her who Octavia Butler was. And then first told her about Kindred. She was like, oh my God, let me write it down. Then I told her about Dawn. Then I told her about Earthseed. And then she was like, wait, wait, wait. She was like writing them all down. So I went and looked them up because some of them have been translated into French. And she was like, are they translated into French? I said, yes. Told her all the names in French, so she wrote them all down. She's like, yeah, I'm gonna get these. The way you talk about the story, that sounds like right up my alley. And like, because when I go there to buy graphic novels, that's what she does to me. She'll get a graphic because I'll say, just pitch me something, and she'll take one because she knows what I like to read, and then she'll talk about it. And so I was doing that when I was talking about Octavia Butler's books. She probably went to the local library and tried to get them. If not, I'd be really surprised because she wrote everything down. So yeah, Octavia Butler, yes, you are correct. I totally agree with you. She is the business. Let's see. Wait. Fierce Trucker said, love you. Oh, thank you. You like the biographies video. I'm glad. It inspired me to tackle Team of Rivals by Doris Kearns. A good one this year. Currently reading Sula. Ooh, that was a good one. Bertie said, I've only finished three and I'm not stressing out this year. I ain't stressing either. I only finished two. She said, I'm trying to get into different hobbies. Yeah. And she said, I got a sewing machine for Christmas. So I'm really, oh, wow, you're getting ready to get into the real hobby now. That's some serious business. Do you follow, Birdie, do you follow Comfy Cozy Up? Because she does, her channel is books and sewing and journaling. She does a lot on her sewing. So if you're interested in learning some things about sewing and checking out some of these sewing, check out Comfy Cozy Up. Her channel is really good. Hey Celeste, how are you? Happy Friday. What are you reading? Rosie says to Bertie, you are in for some good reading. Leonard Pitts Jr. never misses, in my opinion. And you are correct. Okay, so Bertie says the Lilith Brood series is my favorite so far, but I have to read Kindred. And you have to read Earthseed series as well. It's just a duology, though. It's the parable of the sower, parable of the talents. You need that. That's real good. So Curtis says to Rosa, yes, Octavia Butler is amazing. I will be reading Parable of Talents later this year. She is a great writer, and I love Parable of the Sower. Fantastic book. I'm exactly like you, Curtis. We both reading Parable of Talents this year. Tracy said, I can't believe the shop owner never. It's possible. I'm in France, keep in mind. And I mean, she's not typically a science fiction or fantasy kind of reader. So I'm not surprised she doesn't know who she is. I'm really not. Um, Bertie said, yes, I'm obsessed with her content and her videos are just so calming. Yes. I watch them all the time. Great. So that because she's a great inspiration for people who are starting out sewing. Because I mean, I remember all the way back in the day when she started out, and to see the stuff that she's doing now, I'm like amazing. She's making bags and hats and scarves and blankets and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, she's really an inspiration for people who want to learn how to knit or crochet or sew. She's the one. Hey Courtney, how are you? What are you reading? Let's see. Celeste said she's reading Arc of Kin by Tayari Jones. How is that going? I'm curious. Courtney said, anyone ever read A Sky Full of Elephants? So good. I think some people in here have read that book. They read it last year, if I'm not mistaken, and they said they liked it. Bertie said, I always forget when I'm talking to people that aren't in the book community. How many people author wise aren't known? Oh, I don't know. And then Bertie said, I'm hoping to learn how to quilt with my sewing machine. Yeah, well, sewing in right now. That sewing, knitting, crocheting, that's all in right. Everybody's doing that now. Except me, I ain't sewing. No, I ain't got it like that. I'm trying to knit, but not sewing. Tracy said to Courtney, I actually read Sky Full of Elephants twice, and you read it last year, right, Tracy? I think. Celeste said, I like it so far. Okay, so you like that's very conservative for you, Celeste. You just said, I like it so far. Hmm. Okay, Celeste. I see you hold your chest. Raymond said, yeah, I'm not surprised either about them not knowing Octavia, but because it's not, I mean, here in France, sci-fi, there's like a sci-fi, group of people who read a lot of sci-fi, and they probably would know Octavia E. Butler. But people that read like just like contemporary or literary fiction, but do not like reading sci-fi, are not going to know Octavia E. Butler. They just won't. Um, but you also need somebody like me to walk in and tell her about it because I'm not a sci-fi reader either, but I love reading, reading Octavia E. Butler. So when I told her about Kindred, I was telling her how the story was. She was like, "Oh my God, this sounds so good." So I went and I looked up the name of the title in French, and in French it's I think it's called Lien de Sang, which is like linked by blood, which is even better title than Kindred, which is kind of interesting how the French turned the title around. And so when she's in the book cover in French has a black woman on the front facing on the front cover with the title, and so she wrote it down because she could she can get it in French. Um, yeah, so it's like that. Let's see. Courtney says book is still on my mind. Wow. Okay. Terry said, I love Sky Full of Elephants, but didn't Didn't stick the, oh no, didn't like the ending, I think is what you wanted to say. Bertie said Courtney's has an awesome readathon going on this whole entire month. That's the only reason I'm reading this. Wait, what's Courtney's readathon? I ain't heard about Courtney's readathon. Explain what it is in the chat, because I didn't know she was doing a readathon. You read it on, okay, so Tracy says she read it on her own and again for everybody read. Okay, and that was last year, if I remember correctly. Celeste said Sky Full of Elephants was fave for the year 2024. Courtney said, I finished Black AF 2 last month. Courtney said Moth by Amber McBride is also good. Ooh, I don't know if the title Moth. What is going on with this book? DL said, I don't read any sci-fi and I know her. Yeah, but it's not the same, because here in France, when people read, they read like in their genre. And they also don't pick books by authors. They pick books by publishers. So, and then Octavia Butler is also really be considered a backlisted author. And so I'm not surprised she doesn't know her. I'm really not. Tracy said, I've actually developed quite a friendship with, is it Sibo Campbell, the All Sky Elephants. He's invited us to some huge events that he's had, and he's a nice guy. Well, that sounds really cool. Bertie said the boot camp. Oh, I didn't. Oh, okay. I didn't know that was Courtney. Boot camp readathon. It involves reading and being active. Okay. Boot camp readathon last day was yesterday, the 15th. It was awesome. Okay, I'm glad it went well. Bertie said, I'm still keeping it till the end of the month because I'm just having a good time. Okay. Courtney said, thanks to all participants. Hope to see you next year. Well, next year I'm going to participate. Tracy said, I read it in 2024. Okay, yeah. That's actually when it came out, yeah. Rosa said to Terry, same, I wanted more from the ending. Oh, okay. They said picking books by publishers. That's interesting. Yeah, they don't follow authors. They follow publishers, because the publishers here are very much, if it's mystery and crime, that's what they publish. If it's literary fiction, that's what they publish. So they follow publishers. They don't follow authors. Um, Wait, let's see. Celeste, it's supposed to be a book too soon. Oh, I think you're saying it's supposed to be too soon to say something. Maybe. Okay. Chrissy says Sibo has major things coming up. What, does he have a new book coming up? Maybe. Fierce Trucker said boot camp readathon sounds right up my alley. I'll have to join next year. Courtney said to Tracy, that is awesome. Sibo has a great perspective. The ending wasn't my fave either, but I don't really like abstract endings, but I still enjoyed it. Well, that's all that counts. I don't remember hearing too many people say anything bad about that one. They kept saying how good it was. I think a lot of people weren't happy with the ending, but then so they still really liked the book, and so that's all that really counts. Um, Rosa says, I would definitely read more of Sibo's work. Looking forward to what comes next. Oh, okay. Yes, book 2 coming. Oh, okay. Book 2 coming. That's good. Um, so yeah, so let's move on to our next topic. I wanted to make our topic today about book reviews. How do y'all feel about book reviews? So we're gonna do it in 2 parts. We're gonna talk about video book reviews, and we'll talk about written book reviews. Now, the first question is, do y'all even like reviews? Do y'all even like book reviews? That's the main thing, because this is a question that I'm always a little wary about, not knowing how people are going to feel about, when they say, I hate book reviews, or I like book reviews, or I never read them, or I never watch them. How do you feel about book reviews? Raymond said he read Sky Full of Elephants too. He said it was okay to me. So, what does that mean? You give it a 3 or 2 stars? Because if I said it was okay, I would, it's like a 2. Let's see. Bertie said I like filming book reviews. I am horrible at making stuff concise, so I hate writing them down. I bullet point them. Okay, yeah, that makes, so you're not into scripted videos. That's fine. Uh, Celeste says I like some reviews. Okay, what do you mean by that? Some reviews. Raymond said I like book reviews, especially thorough ones, when I can tell the folks actually read it. You didn't kind of tell. You didn't kind of tell they haven't read it. You didn't kind of tell. Courtney said I like the discussions involved. Raymond, the ending dragged. I gave it 4.5. Tracy said, don't get me started on the book reviews where you can tell that the person really didn't truly read the book. Mm. Rosa said, I like book reviews without spoilers. Okay, that's interesting because I had people tell me, ask me to do book reviews with spoilers. And I just kind of like go, what? Okay. Raymond said, I gave Sky Full of Elephants a 3 stars. Okay, so yeah, you thought it was good. It just wasn't great. I'm kind of getting that vibe. Terry said, I like reviews. I live in a small town in North Carolina. And it's a way to talk slash share books. Okay. Sharon said, question. I have been seeing a lot of folks reading the Count of the Count of Monte Cristo. What about it? I guess maybe somebody's doing a read along of it or something. I don't know. Few records. I like book reviews with or without spoilers. So you don't mind book reviews with spoilers. That's an interesting one. Celeste said some folks can't can't give reviews without spoilers. Yeah, but they should try, I think, because and if they can't, I feel like if you're gonna get the book review and it has spoilers, then you should say it right up front. It should be written if it's on your YouTube or something, or you're doing it on IG. You need to write that it's a book review, and you write spoilers in giant letters, so that the people who don't want to be spoiled will not watch your video and be spoiled. But I think sometimes people forget, and the way they reveal things that are kind of spoilerish. Um, Gimon says, I like reading and watching reviews. I appreciate star ratings personally. It gives me a ruler. Now, talking about the star ratings, you have to be careful because everybody's star ratings are the same. You can clearly see that when you hear people say, oh my God, it was just okay, and then they've given the book like 3.5 stars. So if it's okay, then what is two? You know? So be careful to make sure that the person's star ratings that you're going on matches what you think what your star ratings are. Because otherwise you're gonna have some confusion between what is 3 and what is 2 and maybe what is 4 in some cases. Bertie said, I can always tell when people don't read it when they put gifts as book reviews on Goodreads, and they just regurgitate whatever the synopsis is. Okay, do I follow people that put gifts on the Goodreads? I don't think I've ever seen that. Wow. Okay. She said Alexander Dumas. What's going on with that? Girl, I don't know. What's going on with Alexander Dumas? I mean, doing a read along of the count, maybe. Maybe that's why everybody's reading it, because somebody's doing a read along. Gaman says, and give me a spoiler that won't stop my enjoyment. Okay, now I'm not really sure what you mean by give you a spoiler that won't stop your enjoyment. I mean, I feel like you can start talking about the book, and then, there's a moment where you have to stop. And then there's a moment where you have to judge where, like, if you're going to talk about the book, you can't, like, talk about the beginning of the book, or you can't talk about certain aspects of the book because it ruins how the person is going to react to the book. And so I feel like there's a lot of things you have to take in consideration. Courtney says, a quick book review. I don't mind spoilers if you stay up front. Yeah, you see, if it's up front, it's fine. Because some books I don't want to read but want to know what happened. Yeah, okay, I see. Curtis said, I like watching book reviews, but it depends on who the booktuber is. Some booktubers discuss too much about the book, which ends up being spoilers, which I dislike a lot. Yeah, because that means the person wasn't upfront with you by saying there's going to be spoilers, and they wind up giving a lot away. That's why I'm like really cautious about when I do a review, even if it's just me doing a wrap up or something. I want you to be interested in the book, like I was interested in the book, but then I have to find a way to do that without giving away too many spoilers. And sometimes it takes a minute to figure it out. So I totally get it. But I wouldn't purposely spoil it. I would always put spoilers if that was the case. I try not to do that because it's terrible when you're watching a video and then suddenly you have to shut it off because you feel like it's not possible to watch anymore. It's all spoilers. Fierce Trucker said, I like detailed book reviews, whether written or filmed. I don't mind if they have spoilers, especially if I've already read the book. Yeah, I prefer watching the book reviews after I've read the book, because then I can relate to the what I'm reading or what I'm watching a little better. Um, Birdie said, it's always interesting to me what people think are spoilers for me. If it's on the back of the book or in the first chapter, it's not a spoiler. Yeah, I definitely agree. If it's on the back of the book, you can say that. Um, but if it's in the first chapter, that's not a spoiler either. It's like really on the first few pages of the book. That's fine. But what I don't like is when they'll start talking about the book, they'll kind of lay out what it's about, and then they will start talking about something that happened, and you can clearly understand that it's something that happened a little ways down the line in the story. And then you're like, then suddenly you realize that they've spoiled you. They've said some stuff that you didn't need to know, but now you know. Fierce Trucker said, sorry, didn't mean to comment. No, it's okay. Gaman said, right, my rulers are specific to the people whose reviews I follow, though. Okay. Courtney said, a star rating don't mean nothing really. Give me some words on what a rating means. Exactly. I feel like booktubers should have an explanation of their star rating in the comment section, in their description box, so that afterwards nobody can kind of assume what they mean by 2 and 3 stars. It's quite evident what they mean because it's in the description box. Otherwise, you are correct. It don't mean a damn thing because your 3 stars might be my 4, or your 3 might be my 2. So I totally get it. Celeste said, I don't think they know what spoilers are. It's a problem. There you go. I hadn't thought about that, but you're correct. You might be correct on that. They don't know what a spoiler is. Yeah, yeah. That might be actually the case. Um, Mom says, so one person I watch, Hers is always one higher than me, another lower. Okay, but do you understand what they're saying they like or dislike about the book? Because that's really the essential part of a book review, not necessarily what they say for the star rating. Bertie said a lot of people are reading it this year. I don't know if it's just like a huge read along happening or just people are deciding to pick it up. I don't know. I did see a couple of people talking about it on IG, so I just assumed it was doing a read along or something. Yeah. Courtney said, I hate when people put the synopsis in the review. I don't need all that. I already read the author's summary. Yeah, if you're gonna do the review, then you might as well just review it. Review what you think. Tell us what you think. Raymond said, or when people write reviews and make up characters and plot points that were not. Wait, what? Raymond, come on now. People are out here making up book reviews with made up characters and plot points. Where did you do that at? Okay, I have never seen that before. So yeah, we gonna need to talk in the DMs after this because I ain't never seen that before. But wow, okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. Terry said my own star ratings are not the same. I will give high ratings to good K- KU book, Mill, and a buzzy literary novel. I expect different things. Even so, the star rating is not going to change. If your star rating is five is excellent, four is very good, three is good, two is okay, and one is terrible, it doesn't matter what genre it is, you're going to give your rating by how you like the book. But the problem is, people don't know what people's star ratings are. Like, what is 3 stars for you? For me, 3 stars is a good book. For me, 2 stars is okay. Like I gave The Secret Keepers of Main Street, I think I gave it two because I didn't think it was good. I thought it was okay. I gave The Water Dancer okay because it was terrible in my opinion. But that's me. Somebody else might have thought it was 4 stars. So it depends on that. Like you have to know yourself and what you're considering three, two, four, and whatever. Okay, so Gaman said, I'm in spoilers don't affect my future enjoyment of the read. My bad. No, no problem. There are quite a few people that don't mind watching reviews where there are spoilers, but there are a lot of people who don't like that. So it's a toss up. Um, Now there's something I can maybe consider doing is consider doing a spoiler free review for the first 5 minutes, and the next 5 minutes it's a spoiler review. That's that's another way I could possibly do it. Sharon said, I love book reviews. If someone gives a good book review, it makes me want to read that book. Someone gave a book review on The Rape of a Nun King, and I went out and got that book and loved it. Okay, so that's good. So they told you the truth. Tracy said, exactly. Wait, what? Y'all are blowing me. I can't believe this that people are out here making up characters and making up plot points that don't exist and selling it as a preview. Look, y'all, I ain't never seen that, but okay. Um, Courtney said, I don't spoil unless labels spoil. Okay. DL said, I only read reviews after I have read a book just to see what everyone else said. Yeah. Otherwise, people's points of views interfere with my reading. I go in blind. Yeah, I'm like you. I prefer to go in a little blind and be able to make my own decision and not be, kind of because when you hear what other people think, then you start thinking the same. This is one of the reasons why sometimes I don't always read the book right when it comes out. I mean, if I read it when it comes out, I'm gonna read it on the day it comes out before I didn't see anybody talking about it. I'll read it. If I don't, and I see too many people, doing reviews and stuff everywhere, then I'm like, nah, I'll read this next year. Because in that way, it gives me a chance to just and I can kind of make my own opinion about things. Curtis said to Celeste, preach. That is exactly what I was thinking. Some people don't realize that their book reviews are really spoiler reviews. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. And I feel like, yeah, I agree. That's something that I think is a real thing, is that they're incapable of seeing that what they're saying is spoilery. And that's kind of dramatic. It's kind of awful actually. Bernie said Raymond's not lying. That's why I unfollowed a bunch of people on Goodreads. Wait, what? Man, am I following people to do that? Oh, I don't know. I don't have time to be reading them Goodreads reviews, but okay. Raymond, I saw a few people do it last year for a book that was on tour. Like, was it a written review or was it a video review? I'm just flabbergasted. Like people out here lying like that. I don't know. That don't make no sense to me. DL said review pet peeves though. Amazing book. I so enjoyed this. Restart. Yeah. So true. So true. What the F? Or shade like didn't think this would be good, but bruh. Oh my God. I love it. I love it. That is so true. It's always over the top, and then they give it like a three or a two or something. Yeah, what they're saying doesn't correlate with any star rating in sense. I totally agree with that. That is like that's a thing as well. DL said making up characters and plot points classic. AI. Oh my God, it makes things. Shaw, people out here writing reviews with the help of AI. Oh, get the fuck out of here. I'm sick of AI. Terry said yes, made up reviews come from AI. A newspaper published fake reviews. Birdie said two for me means I didn't like it. One is I hated it. Pretty much. If I say it's okay, it means it's kind of me being nice saying I ain't like it. But I'm not gonna say it's okay and give it a three. It don't make sense. Gaman said yes, ratings should have context to be useful. Making up characters, yeah. Oh wow, I'm the same as you. I ain't seen that. Now I have seen people lie a little bit. You can kind of tell that they have not read this book, and they've lied. You lie a little bit like that, but literally make up characters and plot points. Yeah, now that's going too far. That's a step too far for me. Patrice says some people give too much information, way too much. So I don't watch the thing. I like to go into most books totally blind. Yeah, exactly. Terry said the water dancer was terrible. Well, that's my opinion. I ain't like it. He better stick to the nonfiction. That's more like his thing. Raymond said to DL, good point about AI. I hadn't thought about that. Neither had I. I'm thinking people out here writing book reviews with AI now. Why? 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 Why are we doing that? Celeste is laughing. Agree. Patrice said, a lot of people give too much information, and I don't end up watching the whole thing. Uh, Tracy said, and those general blase reviews where it's so obvious they haven't read it and are just doing it for content. Yeah, now that's a terrible idea. That's a terrible idea to do a book review and you haven't read the book just for content. It's a bad idea. Raymond said they were both written reviews. I had read the book already and I was like, none of this happened in the text. Oh my God. That's terrible. Celeste said, if I review a book I didn't finish, I just review what I read. That makes sense. Bertie said, I feel like people are just becoming stingy with their 5 stars and they can say everything glowing under the sun, but still give it three or, which doesn't make sense. Because if I'm glowing over the damn book, it's going to be getting 4 or 5. It can't be getting a 3. That don't make no sense. I'm not going to spend any excess time talking and raving about a book if it's three stars or 2 stars. That's not going to happen. It does that. Nah, it's not going to happen. I mean, I don't rave about a lot of books. It's really 5 star books and some like 4.5 books. But if I rave about it, it's because I really liked it. And if I didn't like it, boy, I didn't like it, and you'll know I didn't like it. So yeah. Um, let's see. Celeste said it was Zora's book. I already know Raymond. Oh, okay now. Gaman said something about using AI to write a book review doesn't sit well with my spirit. It don't make no damn sense. It just makes no sense. Who out here is doing that and why? Why would they go out of the way to do something like that? That's just crazy to me. Makes no sense. Terry said, I also judge people who love something I hate. What's wrong with you? Okay, now that's called book snobbery, girl. That's something called completely different. That's a whole nother topic. We could do that next week. A whole topic on how we love a book, and if somebody hates it, we just kind of look at them like, what? How can you hate that book? Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. That's like a whole nother topic. Bertie said, even when I do author review interviews, I start off non-spoilery and then put a spoiler tag when we start talking about the nitty gritty. Okay, so that's cool. Bertie said there are marriages being annulled because people are using AI for their wedding vows. Girl, stop. What is it with people in this fucking AI, man? It's like they don't know how to do anything anymore. Bertie said there are plenty of times that I've started with a 4 star, but as the year went on, I kept on thinking about the book and I bumped it up to 5. That happens sometimes. Curtis said, what really kills me is when some booktubers start off with, this is not a spoiler. Oh my God. Yeah. I try not to say that phrase. Shoot me if I say that phrase in my videos. But then reveals the spoiler shaking my head. This is not a spoiler. Oh my God. It's different if they say this is in the first chapter of the book or this is on the back of the book. That's fine, but you're not obligated to say that. You can still do your review without having to say this is not a spoiler, whatever. If you're concerned about not giving spoilers, you shouldn't have to say this is not a spoiler. That shouldn't have to come out of your mouth. We should already expect your book review is going to be non-spoilery, you know? So having to say this is not a spoiler makes me a little worried already. DL said it's people that are loud about not liking an S. Ooh, who doesn't like S.A. Cosby books? I will come to your house. What are you talking about exactly? Um, Fierce Trucker said, I'm with you, Terry. Raymond said, what might be wrong? What might be worse than AI? People copying and pasting Goodreads reviews. Raymond, stop it. Stop it, Raymond. People out here doing that? Oh, hell no. That's crazy. Terry said we can really talk about book snobbery. Oh yeah, we can talk about that next week if you want. I'll write it down. That's a good topic for for next week, book snobbery, because I think we all have a little bit of it in us, even though we don't want to admit it, but we do. Um, we have a bit of book snobbery in us. Um, let's see, Billy. Hey, oh, you came so late. But you're here. That's all that matters. We love you, Billy. How are you? What are you reading? We're talking about book reviews and if we like them or not like them, or if we prefer video or written. And Raymond's been putting me on to people out here using AI, stealing other people's reviews, doing all kind of shenanigans in the book reviewing that I ain't seen none of that. But okay, wowee. I'm surprised. I really am. I didn't think people had it in them to steal other people's work and then think that nobody was going to notice. I think that's, at this day and age, I think it's ridiculous. But be that as it may, we're in that kind of, that's kind of the way things work, that people are trying to reproduce content at a rate that is impossible to produce. You need to read your books and you need to read them thoroughly, particularly if you want to review them. Try not to be too spoilery unless for some reason that's what you do. That's your mantra, is to do spoilery reviews. Then that's fine, because some people do those, and we know that that's what they're doing on BookTube, which is fine. Some people do like their reviews where they write them all out, like as if they're gonna, like as if it could be a blog post, but what they do is they read it to their subscribers, which I'm not mad at that. But that analysis can contain some spoilers. But I do follow somebody who does that. She writes out her review and then she reads it, and people either stick around for the 45-minute review or the 35-minute review, or they do not. So it really depends. Oh, you had to speak on a panel for work. Very nice. See, Billy is reading The Wilderness by Flournoy. Tracy said, "Oh, just thinking off the top of my head, Shirley Chisholm, A Seat at the Table by Glenn L. Starks and F. Eric Brooks is good for Raymond's challenge." Yes, it is. Um, Celeste says, "Always doing the Lord's work. Thank you." Billy said, "Raymond is right. People are definitely out here plagiarizing reviews." Wow, they are thieves and are not reading the books. Well, now, Bertie said, "I got called this snob the other day because I read." Oh wait, it cut off or whatever. Billy said the panel went well. Thanks for asking. I'm sure it went well, Billy. You're a good speaker. But yeah, y'all didn't put me on to now, like people stealing, writing, stealing other people's reviews, parts of people's reviews, and putting them in their. That's, wow. I don't know. That's too much. That's way too much. What is Raymond's challenge? It's the 12 Lives challenge, where you read 12 biographies. So no autobiographies, no memoirs, only biographies, and you read 12 of them. Well, you read how many you can, but it's called the 12 Lives challenge. Let me see. I think I have a picture in here. Yes, I do. Let's see. It looks like this. The 12 Lives challenge. So I did a video on my channel, and I showed some books that I may be choosing from to participate in this challenge. I will not be reading 12, but I'm going to be reading something. I don't know how many it's going to be, but it's going to be something. Um, Billy said, "I only trust certain book reviewers these days. People are shady." Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Shady AF. Rosa said, "That is really sad to steal, copy, and paste and use AI, especially since a book is the result of creativity and originality, i.e., own words." Exactly. Raymond said to Terry, "It's the 12 Lives challenge." So I showed it. Tracy said, "Raymond's challenge is hashtag." Yeah, you have to remember the hashtag, y'all. Hashtag the 12 Lives challenge. I need to put that on my, I might need to put that on my title so you can see it. Gaman said, "There is theft all over social media." I know. They be thieving though, for sure. Because I mean, I shouldn't be too surprised because it happened a lot in the beginning when I joined BookTube in 2013. By 2015, there had already been a lot of thieving because there was some people they came on the scene and they were talking about, that there was this one content creator I absolutely adored her videos, and she talked a lot about James Baldwin because she had studied him in school, and she was doing fantastic videos. And it wasn't long before somebody else was literally like pulling off some of her content and just trying to simplify to make it look like it was her content. And it, you could clearly see that it was the other girl's content. So yeah, thieving on the internet seems to be a job at this point. um okay, so Raymond explains to Terry the 12 lives challenge where your biographies for the year. And then we have the hashtag the 12 live challenge, all lowercase, 12 and written in numbers. Gaman said there is stuff all over social media site, and Raymond says that is wild. Yeah, yeah. So and that has been one of the deterrents. So the creators stopped creating content because of the theft. Because the person was kind of stealing their thing. But I mean, ideas for videos and things like that. There's never an original thought. Believe me, never original thought. You can think you're doing something, originally, and then 2 days later you see somebody else doing the same, video that, similar video than what you did. They're just doing it a little differently, but they clearly got the idea from you. So that does happen quite a lot. But the idea of someone copying and pasting, cut, copy, paste from someone's book review into their own book review as if it's theirs just burns me. I don't like that. That's just awful. Um, Terry said to Raymond, I think I got this. Tupac, Tony at random, and King. Yeah, me. Bertie said, I just don't like how YouTube anymore is just about the stick of reading and not actually reading. Exactly. I mean, and it has blossomed even more in that sense, that it's more the aesthetic than it is the reading. There are very few channels now that you can say the person actually, is talking about reading the book, or talking about reading books and really delving in. It's not There aren't a lot of channels like that. But also you have to keep in mind some of the really more serious channels. Like, I follow this one guy. His channel is based on the idea of getting people to read books they wouldn't normally read, so in the classic domain. So what he does is he'll take like a book like Middlemarch, or I don't know, some classic that's long. Let's say The Count of Monte Cristo. And what he'll do is he will break it down for you. So he will tell you, like, he'll guide you and tell you the kind of things that you should be looking for when you're reading the book, the kind of things that you're going to encounter. Not tell you about the plot or anything like that, but he'll tell you about the reading experience of The Count of Monte Cristo in detail, so that when you finally do pick it up, you feel like you can actually do it. So what he's doing is he's kind of like breaking it down so that you as a reader who's not used to reading long classic books will actually be able to read it. Like, he'll say, well, you should read it in this many sittings, or you should take your time and do letter by letter, or whatever it is, and he'll break it down. Now, this guy's video is like 45 minutes to an hour long. The people that watch that channel do not have they have the stamina to sit there and watch a 45 minute to 60-minute video, whereas the majority of people that are watching BookTube do not. They will watch maybe 5 minutes of that video. They might skip around if he has chapters marked, and they're out. So that's like that tells you the difference of some of the content that you'll find on BookTube sometimes. There's people that are actually watch because he's got a lot of followers. A lot of people watch those videos because they really do want pointers on how to read Middlemarch and how to read The Count of Monte Cristo and how to read all of these long classical books. But the majority of people that are watching BookTube do not. They skim through video. They will skim through a 7-minute video. People will not take the time to listen to a 7-minute video, whether it be a book review, a tag, or whatever it is. They will not. They will skim. So that's the kind of period we're in, sadly, where people are, have attention deficit. So they're not able to really, watch full videos. So that also alters the content of the videos. So let's see. Terry says there is an Asian lady that does old Hollywood stories. Oh, and I came across a young girl who was repeating word. See, I can't stand the TikTok. So the TikTok, I don't like it. Yeah, Fierce Trucker said the attention span is gone, and you're correct. And so this is part of the problem. So there was I put a thing on my IG today. It was about a guy talking about them doing like a doing research on students and studying and reading. And what he realized was that this is the first generation that isn't doing better than their parents. I think she said the Gen Z is the generation that isn't doing better than their parents. And he said that the reading was really low. So, for example, on a regular reading, standardized reading test, you would have like a couple of paragraphs to read, and they would ask you maybe 5 questions. Now, what they do is they just make like one sentence, and then they ask you one question. So they're not testing you the same. So he said, you read one sentence, that's skimming because you'll have a certain amount of time to do it in. It said the other way around, you actually had to read the text. You could not actually skim the text. So there is definitely some kind of attention deficit going on. People are having trouble um, sitting and watching something for 5 minutes. They even say, like when you watch something on like Netflix or Hulu or one of those things, the way that it's written so that you can be scrolling on your phone at the same time and listen to what is playing green and still follow the storyline. Why? Because they'll do stuff like repeat things that are obvious, like, is that your phone? Or something like that. Because they're making it so that the person who is scrolling with their head down can still follow the story, which I find that crazy, but it's true. Just try it one time. I tried it one time. I was watching something with my husband, and I had my head down, and I was actually playing Scrabble and listening at the same time, and I only put my head up like a few times, and I could still follow. That's problematic. I could play Scrabble and follow the thing at the same time. Let's see. Bertie said, "Oh, Middlemarch is on your big book list for the year." Oh, the YouTuber. I gotta think of his name. I'll send you a message on my DMs, and I'll tell you what his name is. And I think he has a video on Middlemarch too. Um, Fierce Trekker said, "How are these people reading books if they can't watch a longer book review?" Well, probably because they listen to audiobooks instead of reading. Which audiobook listening is a form of reading, but it also doesn't encourage your attention deficit. I mean, real when you sit down and you have your book in front of you and you have to read, let's say 20, 30 minutes. Some people can only sit still for 30 minutes and read the book. Some people, I can sit for 2 hours and read a book. But I'm kind of weird though. And I don't read fast either. But some people aren't able to do that. So they need to listen to their audiobook, or maybe they'll do the immersive reading. So it's when you're listening and reading at the same time. But even then, they're not able to sit for very long, like maybe 30 minutes tops. So it really depends. Um, let's see. Yes, Middle March by George Eliot. He said the amount of people that tell me that they speed up my videos. I'm like, I talk very really fast to begin with. I probably sound like a chipmunk or something. Now, I'm sure people do that to my videos too, because I probably don't speak fast enough for them as well. But I know people can, because you can tell when you look at your, when you look at your analytics, you can tell that people are skipping through, that they're really watching 5 minutes of a 10-minute video. You can kind of see. So it doesn't matter how short the video is or how long the video is. They watch around anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes of the video. So it can be 30 minutes, it can be 20 minutes, it can even be 10 minutes, and they'll still only watch 5 to 7 minutes of the video. That's the attention span. Um, Tracy said people do all kinds of stuff for content, talking about read books by Black women, but show a book by non-Black men teachers. Black man. Shit. Oh my God. Patrice laughing at Tracy. Bertie said the amount of people that can't write a 5 paragraph essay is bonkers to me. Yeah, that was one thing that they said that they could not do, was write a 5 paragraph essay. I still had to write my 5 paragraph essay in 45 minutes by hand. Yeah, I saw that on IG, and they were whinging because they had to write it by hand. Okay. Yeah. They would have had a lot of trouble in college in the 80s. A lot of trouble. Gaman says, I have a friend who listens to books at 2 times plus. I read physical copies fast, but can't go past 1.2 on audio. Because particular, you're listening, you're trying to understand, and then if it gets sped up too much, it really does sound like this. I personally can't do it, but I'll speed it up, but not in no 2.0. I mean, I'll do 1.2, sometimes 1.5, depending on how fast the person is speaking. But there's no way I could do 2.0. I cannot concentrate. Raymond said, I can't be watching nobody sounding like a chipmunk. I just can't. Yeah, no, I can't either. Billy's laughing. Bertie said, immersive reading for me helps it stick in my brain more. Yeah, I can see that because you're soliciting your listening and you're soliciting your reading, and you have the textile, you're touching the book. And believe it or not, touching a book is part of the, of the reading experience that helps you, remember things. Because I mean, I know, like, when I'm for book club, I'm reading and then I'm marking things. But if we're in book club and somebody mentions something, I oh, that is, wait, that's on page, and I'm already going back to look to see where it is. There is something to say for physically, reading the book, even if you're doing it immersive, reading and listening. There's something for touching the book. There's a connection that we make with the book that is fairly important. So, yeah. Let's see. Gaman says, my eyes and brain fought each other last time I read immersive reading. Yeah, immersive reading is special, but I remember doing immersive reading when I was a child. So I'm kind of used to that. I could do it. Rosa said, I can't either, Raymond. Phew. Chris said to Birdie, I'm the same way. Immersive reading works great for me, not just doing audio alone. I can't do audio alone unless it's something really light. Like if it would be like I read one book, I think it was last year. I read it in July or June or something. It was called Let Me Liberate You. It was a I think it was a Caribbean novel from I don't remember what Caribbean island it was from, but it was a light read, and I managed to listen to it with no problem with no book. But I don't do that very often because if I really want to understand well and be able to actually say something intelligent about what I read after, I can't just listen on audio. I can't do it. My brain don't work that way. I need to have my eye on the page. Um Curtis said I do audio by itself. My mind will wander off at some point. Same here. Gaman says, what about rereading only through audio? Oh, hell no. No, that don't work. That does not work because it's the same problem. What we're talking here is about an attention problem for me personally. I'm like Curtis. Curtis and I are the same with this. So if I have just the audio on, I gotta sit there and be like this. Like I can't be doing the laundry and the dishes, with the headphones on, trying to do other stuff, trying to do the task while you're at home while I'm listening to whatever, just because I read the book before. Hell to the no, that ain't gonna work for me. I can tell you. No, no, no. It will not work. I will quickly start wandering off, like hearing what's going through my ears, but I'm only hearing it. I am not listening, if you know what I mean. There's a difference between hearing and listening. I will only be hearing it, not listening, and that makes a big difference. Now, some people are experts at it because their listening is really important for them. I need to do more than hear. I need to listen. I need to look. I need to write. I need to do all kind of stuff. Um, wait, let's see. Okay, Rosa said part of the joy of reading is reading the words. Yes, each word. Yes, but I can listen to an audiobook, but only certain types. Same. If I'm only going to listen, it has to be super light. I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's super light. When we read that romance novel in July, I listened to it on audio. I could listen to it in the car. I could listen to it at home, and it was super light, and it was fine. But I can't listen to anything else. Like, I mean, I can't be reading while listening to that and not reading the book. It's just not. It doesn't work for me. Yeah, you felt that hell no, because it's a thing. That's a no for me, ma'am. I cannot. I cannot. I need to connect with what I'm reading when I'm listening to. If I'm listening and reading at the same time, I'm connecting. I'm not doing the dishes. I'm not, hoovering the floor. I'm not washing the windows while I'm trying to listen to an audiobook. I don't know how to do that. My brain don't work like that. Hey, Latrice in the house. She said, hey, y'all, I'm super because, oh, damn, they put you in the meetings on Friday again. Damn. Um, we've been talking about book reviews and stuff like that. And then it kind of made us go on to audio books and reading and attention deficit and all kinds of other things. So unfortunately, I have got to sign off, y'all. We've been on here a minute, okay? We've been on here a minute, but it's been fun. It's been very informative. Um, we get y'all gave some good ideas around book reviews, but also the things you hate about book reviews, but most of all, the shit people doing, stealing people's stuff. That's not good. That's a problem. That's problematic. Um, Wait, let's see. She said, yeah, man, start of the year and everyone want to yap on Friday all day. All right, but anyway, it's been a pleasure, you guys. I will see you next Friday for Friday Reads. Hang in there. Have a great weekend with lots of good reading. I'm glad you caught the live. Well done. You're welcome anytime. And I will see you guys next Friday. Bye.